There we go, guys. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
We have to change your intro up a little bit, buddy. You caught me yawning before you wanted to start your little piece there.
And as you can hear, it is an early Saturday morning. Scully, Rebel, how are you?
Indeed it is. Good and buddy. Good to be here.
All good, man. All good. And then with us for, I think, still a couple of minutes before he has to dash off, we have Slash. How are you?
Lekker, man.
Yeah, it's all good, man. It's all good. So again, an interesting week as always on the battlefield. We actually managed to spectate quite a number of games this week and quite a number of interesting games that we'll talk about this morning as well. But other than the events of the battlefield itself, there was also a couple of other things happening. And just before I continue, I see that Riplets has joined us. Rips, how are you, buddy?
Sober now.
Good. Good.
Jet lag there, bro.
Jet lag.
Beer lag. Tequila lag.
Beer lag. Brandewijn lag.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
No, it's getting winter as well.
Oh,
Winter. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very early morning as well.
Good, man, good. But before we get into all the things happening on the battlefield this week, obviously, I think the big thing for this week for us in terms of announcements is, as we've been saying over the last couple of weeks, people have been asking us about Season 3 and when we're starting to talk about it. And if you have been in touch with the Facebook page and Discord, you would have seen that Scully Rebel started the process this week, and there's a couple...
that's a good word for it. So he didn't start stirring, he started the process.
And of course there was cheese, so
and it was cheese. Loads and loads of cheese.
So Scully started the process for us this week. And Scully, you want to talk a little bit about some stuff that we've done in terms of the voting and asking guys what's going on and how we are tracking on Season 3 planning?
Yeah, sure. So the thought behind it was, as some of you might have seen on Discord, was just to get a little bit of a direction on what the guys participating in Clan Wars would like to see within Season 3. So obviously, yes, we do take the competitive side seriously, but we also understand that there are a few clans who does not take it as seriously, yet they do want to compete. And we are currently in a position where we have to try and cater for everybody. So we just set out on Discord, just a few questions to see, what the guys like and what they don't like. So I made a question like instead of Conquest, what would they like? And then we pasted Frontlines, War Pigeon, the 12v12 domination instead of a T5. A little bit of rules, DLCs. I'm not even sure if I should mention the clan because I might get burned at the stake again for mentioning the clan of which we do not speak or not allowed to speak or something like that. And the other thing was, coming up with new ideas, keeping it fresh, keeping it, when you look at BFN rules and all these other leagues that's out there, yes, brilliant places to compete. They've got an excellent rule set, but that's not the alpha and the omega of the gaming scene within Battlefield. We as South Africans are in a very fortunate position that we can actually do whatever we want to do. If we want to compete within another league, BFN or Nations or whatever, we have to set by their rules. In the South African community, we create the rules. Yes, it is based off that, but we are in a position to be a bit more flexible. Like the Conquest that we are suggesting, that it's a minimum, it's up to 16v16. So the minimum players is obviously 12, so it's a 12v12. But if your clan accommodates more than 12, like 20 or 25 players, and you would like to include them, you can go up to 16 versus 16 players. So it's not a cast in stone. What this enables us to do is to accommodate for smaller and larger clans all in one go. The only downside to that, or the only condition to that, is that both teams need to agree, to field either 15, 16, 13, 14 players, So that's where Battlefield Clan Wars in South Africa is unique, is where we are flexible in everything we do. So moving to one of the things that came up, for instance, is rules. Some of the guys like rules, some guys don't like rules, and then you have obviously Division 1, which are the guys who are a bit more serious about their gaming. They prefer to play with rules, and I fully agree with that. We wouldn't even discuss that with them. But then we have something like either no rules, or we have no rules except for elite, or no gas, and shotguns. We forgot to add that in, but that'll be in default. We wouldn't necessarily not add that in, because shotguns is a bit of an annoying thing. So yes, we put these polls out, and the guys, they voted on it, and so on, and we got to the conclusion that at the end of the day, we're going to run a conquest, and it as the main feature, and it's going to be a 12v12 up to 16 versus 16 players, if the two captains agree. And then on the sideline with that, we will have the T5.
Excellent.
Yep. Oh, you guys are still there. I'm not hearing anything. I thought I'm just like, what gaan aan? Thought you're leaving me in the Jesus, I thought you're leaving me in the dark here. Okay, sorry guys. All right, moving on. Ja, ek is aan die gang vanoggend. Unfortunately, I can't be here too long. I have to go do something else. So that's why we decided just to do this quickly. Well, quickly is supposedly not the relative word for me just driving away. But I have some other commitments this morning, so that's why we're starting off with this. Then I need to move on. So moving on to the rules side of things, yes. I think what we're going to do is, look, Season 1, Division 1, there's no, they don't have the luxury of playing without rules. You play rules because they compete internationally and they take the gaming more seriously. So Division 2 and Division 3 is a little bit more flexible. Now, that's where it gets a bit complicated, because we have serious competitive teams within there working their way up to Division 1, and you have some of the other guys that just want to compete, they just want to compete and stay with us and enjoy the game. So for them, we put out this the question of no rules except gas, no sentry, and obviously shotgun. And then we had about 23 votes on that, and I think on the previous one we had a little bit more. Then you have the full rules as on Season 1 for Division 2 and Division 3, which is 36 votes, which there's not a lot of difference between that. So what I'm suggesting is we do for the Division 2 and Division 3 is we make it a choice. So once again, just with as it is with the game mode, 12v12 up to 16 versus 16. In this case, we might go, we're going to play. You have the option to do full rules, normal conquest competition rules, or you can opt in for the light duty rules, which is no rules except for no gas, no sentry, or no shotgun. So that's going to be a discussion within the two captains that's playing that specific night, that specific match, and they will decide what rules they want to use within their game mode. But at the end of the day, if the one captain decides that listen, I want full rules, and the other captain decides that, listen, I want half of the rules, the full rule set will be the deciding factor. So you either agree on the light rules, let's call it light duty rules or something like that. We still need a name for this. So you either agree on that, or you agree on full rules. But if there's a discrepancy or you don't get to an agreement, the default will be full rules. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. And of course, Scully, I think it's also important to note to the guys that, we have literally started the view on Season 3 this week, so a lot of these things are still in discussion. We might end up with, depending on how many teams participate, how many guys are in there, how many guys are voting for the full rule set, we might end up having maybe Division 1 and 2 playing full rule sets by default, and in Division 3 you might have an option to decide on what you want to do. So I think at the moment it's a good guideline. Definitely Division 1 will have full rule set no matter what. At the moment there's a bit of a discussion going on around Division 2 and 3 and seeing what the guys are looking to do and interested in. But so far, I think it's very nice, the responses that we've had. We've had a lot of engagement, from the community in terms of how they would like to see Season 3 unfolding. Obviously, it is the last season that we will do on Battlefield 1. Beyond Season 3, we won't have another season on Battlefield 1. So I think from your side, Scully, it's also probably good to mention to the guys that the whole reason is that you sort of went out to the community and wanted some of these answers, because we wanted to make the last one as enjoyable as we could for everyone, seeing that it will be the last season on Battlefield 1.
Correct, yes. Yeah, so the objective is obviously to be an all-inclusive a league that we hold, within Clan Wars. But yeah, as you mentioned there, the most important thing is to have fun, seeing that it's going to be the last one that we do on the Battlefield 1 series for Battlefield. And we would like to make it as enjoyable as possible. So if we have to bring it in as a choice, we won't cast it in stone to say, yes, this is going to be a no rules and elke man for himself, daar gaat jy. It's still a competition, it's still a league, and there's still a bit of structure in it. So it'll be bringing as a choice, and then at the end of the day, the two captains need to agree on that choice. And I mean, it's not as we casting something in stone, and it's all about being flexible and trying to accommodate as many players within the South African community as possible.
Absolutely, guys. And if you have been following along, and if you have joined us for the stream this morning, thank you very much. We were just speaking to Scully about the stuff that he put out regarding Season 3 this week, starting up the discussions and the voting and all sorts of stuff like that. On the screen you would have seen some of the polls that we had that Scully put out on Discord there with some of the votes. And I think the planning so far is coming along relatively smoothly. But of course, running parallel with the planning of Season 3, we also have the sort of closing out of Season 2. And at the moment, we said in last week's discussion that we will give you guys an update on how that will work, specifically around the T5. And we can give you an update this morning. We have Nico has almost finalized the brackets for us. And it will be played on a play-out basis. In other words, there will be teams selected for the quarters, and then the quarters will play for the semis, and the semis eventually to the final. And that's going to take roughly about, I think, according to the current timescale, Scully, it will take an additional 2 weeks, which means that it will end off, additional 3 weeks, which means that the T5 and the T12 will still end up ending completely in the same week, which is sort of what the plan was from the beginning, right? Scully?
Sorry, man, you're 100% correct there. I actually only heard half of what you said there, because I'm just busy with something else. As I said, I have to go a little bit later. Just so throw me a bone there. What's wrong with you?
No. What I was saying is that we will probably this coming week communicate the brackets. For the quarters, the semis, and the quarters actually, because the semis will be determined by who plays in the quarters, and then out of the quarters, the finals. That it will take approximately additional 3 weeks, so it will still end exactly with the T12 that same ending week.
That was the planning behind it. We're still waiting at this point in time. Let me just go in here because it's a bit noisy on that side. That's the plan. To see if we can wrap it up within the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then just give it about a week to get all the admin stuff. These admin things are just a nightmare. But ultimately, we'll get the admin stuff ready, and then launch the new Battlefield. The Season 3, and the objective for that will be obviously to try and finish it up before the new launch of Battlefield 5.
Correct. Excellent. Scully, then I know you've got to run. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. It's great as always. Thanks for all the work put in this week around starting up the Season 3 endeavours. And we're looking forward to next week and the rest of the communication around that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it's an absolute pleasure, doing these things, and I find it very enjoyable to get things going and see these guys compete, all the teams compete, and so on. So I've just got one request before I go. Just want to ask Red, just to stop being salty and let's just enjoy the game, boys. Come now, All right.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, fuck it, man.
Right.
I hate handing out warnings.
Let's go play there on the battlefield and have fun. No need to be. I don't really want to say it because I know we might have some sponsors listening to this. So for your ears and my sanity and obviously the Roast channel, I will not say it. But just hope everybody have a lot of fun and looking forward to Season 3. Enjoy the rest of the show, guys. I'll speak to you later.
Thanks, Scully. Have a good day, man.
Cheers.
Cool, man. Cheers, everyone.
Bye-bye. Right, so that was Scully leaving us there. Thanks for his input and everything that he's done again for trying to start up the process for Season 3. So this coming week is, of course, the wrap-up then, not the wrap-up, the finalization of the playouts for the T5. We are going into week 9. So I mean that's it's been long. It's been 9 weeks of absolute mayhem and absolute play. So all sorts of interesting things happening around that as well. And what I wanted to do before we get into the tables, just sort of sticking with the theme of talking about rules and no rules and this and that and whatever may be the case. We also asked Riplets to join us this morning because we wanted to also rectify one of the streams that we had. And before we get on to that, guys, when it comes to streaming, there's something that I just want to also make clear, is that, streamers are not referees, right? I don't know, sometimes people think that the guys who are streaming are supposed to referee the game, and unfortunately that's not the way that it works, especially not in Clan Wars, because we have such a huge, variety and skill level of streamers. A streamer is there to bring you the game as they see it, right, and to bring it to the community so there's something to watch. But the way that we work within Clan Wars is that any sort of infringement or yellow card events or anything like that is discussed within 24 hours after the game has completed. So, for example, and I'm going to highlight it now specifically, we were spectating the game between LGD and Royal. And of course, there was an infringement during the game. Now, again, from a streaming perspective, we don't referee the game during the game. Infringements are logged afterwards. So during the stream, we obviously announced that LGD won based on what we saw, but it then came out afterwards that there was actually an infringement by LGD, which they agreed to. And because of that, they forfeited the second map. And because of the forfeit, it actually meant that Royal actually won the game. So, Riplets, you are here this morning. Congratulations. I know we had a chat after the game, that was interesting as well. But congratulations on that game this week. If you guys didn't see it, it is available on the channel. We will put the link in the description below as well. But that was a phenomenal game between yourselves and LGD. LGD obviously coming out impressing as always, but you guys had a very, very impressive game against them as well, and obviously because of that one infringement, the game obviously went your way. So congratulations on that. And what I have here is I actually have a bit of a screenshot just to sort of show the guys what happened. Now, if you're looking at the screen right now, you will see there at the bottom left-hand corner, I'm actually gonna sorry, I'm moving the wrong one. I'm actually going to enlarge that screen a little bit, and you can see that there on the roof, and that's actually a screenshot from the stream. You can see that there's those two little red dots on the roof over there, and that is two LGD players. I'm just going to shrink it down again. And then in the background, you can see there's there's a roof there, and the roof is marked in red, and that is the areas within the T5 where those players are not allowed to be. So that was the infringement. So Rips, I don't know if there's comments on from your side regarding. I know that the guys weren't on the roof for ages. They were pretty much on there, and I think they realized that they were not supposed to be on there, because after this particular infringement, there wasn't any of that roof play going on.
Yes. So basically, what happened was we didn't actually know what happened throughout the game because we weren't really looking on the roof for players.
Yeah.
But the one concern that came up was people are confused with the main roof that you can see the two LGD players on, and then that secondary roof that's above the spiral staircase. The reason that roof was specified was because that the secondary roof above the spiral staircase is only accessible by ladders. So when the rule stated the central roof of the rooftop of the central building, it's referring to the main roof.
Correct.
Due to the fact that it's almost nobody actually looks up there in a small 5v5 team game mode, as well as that you can't really see players from that on that roof from any point on this map.
Correct.
Unless you are literally so far on the back on top of the mountain, which is not really something teams will do.
Well, especially not in a T5, right?
Yeah, especially not in a T5 because it's so fast paced. The flags are so close together. Yeah, you'll obviously get that one team who does a full flank around the back and they'll go on top of the mountain. But at the end of the day, some teams just won't, and you won't be able to see them. And the fact that that rooftop is above one of the flags, which you could use as a spawn point, even if you've just lost the flag, you would lose the spawn point due to a player being on the roof and then having his whole team spawn on and rushing down, capturing the flag very quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was a bit of discussion going on about that, but I think in the rules it wasn't really specified that the roof on the top of the spiral staircase is only accessible by ladder, which is covered by the ladder rule.
Correct. Which is covered by the ladder rule in any way. So I mean, it was a bit of actually, to be honest with you, I mean, afterwards I also had a discussion with the LGD guys, and it didn't seem that contentious. I mean, they realized that they did that, and they conceded and said, well, look, we'll take the forfeit for that because it is part of the rule set. So it wasn't really a debatable thing, to be honest, at that point. I think the guys realized that they did it, and they took the infringement. For all net effect purposes, however, just by the look of the tables, and we'll see it again when we talk about the tables in a little bit, I don't think it will hurt them too much going into the quarters. Because I do think that they will be one of the teams, together, of course, with yourself, that will end up in the quarters, and hopefully we'll see you guys play each other again for a place in the semis and the finals. So I'm looking forward to that, because it was an absolutely incredibly hectic game.
Yeah, to be honest, the amount of sweating between both teams. I mean, I know a few of the players I met. I think two of their teammates, and they're a bunch of lacquer guys, and I mean, we were swearing their names, they were swearing our names. It was an intense game, and as I said after the stream, map 1 could have gone either way, map 2 could have gone either way. Yeah. Unfortunately, map 3 wouldn't have gone any other way because of that triple cap and us dropping a player on the last two maps. But yeah, I mean, LGD, a strong team. You can't take anything away from them. They made a bit of a boo-boo, and it cost them quite dearly, but at the end of the day, they're a strong team. They will be going through to the quarters. Well, that's my prediction, because we still got, I think, 2 weeks left. And
next week is the last playable week. Well, this week coming is the last playable week, and then we're doing quarters. So again, we'll see on the tables, but I think that that both yourself and LGD would actually end up in the quarters, but we'll look at the tables when we get to it. Yes. But yeah, that's what I think will happen. So hopefully, depending on how the structure of the tables, how the structure of the brackets work out, we might actually get to see you guys play each other again. which would be fun. I was saying to somebody else in the week that you are having a hectic stream when the people on the stream start asking you if you are going to have a heart attack. So now, of course, for that particular stream, we also had the pleasure of having the drunken streamers in there with us as well. So we're doing a bit of a Battle Bros featuring VTRN stream for that game, LGD between and Royal. And it was also a bunch of Lekker Oaks having on the stream, some fun comments, and there was some multilingual Afrikaans and English thrown in there together, and it was actually great fun. But I think at the end, everybody was close to a heart attack, including the stream, both teams and the streamers. So guys, if you didn't watch that game, again, it is available on the channel. We will leave the link in the description below, so that you guys can go and look at that. It was an absolutely phenomenal game to watch, and I'm looking forward to the quarters, and then of course eventually the semis and the finals.
Yeah, I mean, the some of the top 5v5 teams. I mean, I had a chance of watching Destruction versus NYU last night. Destruction took the win, but great gameplay from both teams. I mean, it was amazing to watch. It just shows the amount of dedication that goes into these teams preparing for a game, and the strengths in different teams. I mean, Destruction have a completely different game style compared to, say, for instance, LGD and Royal ourselves. Yeah. And it was just amazing to see how these teams play. And I think the quarters will probably be the week to watch all these games in.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just having a bit of a issue here with my the screens this morning. So I just want to see if I can quickly sort that out. Just give me 1 second. I just want to go in there. Because I want to go to the tables now, but it is not allowing me to actually do that. So let me just see if I can quickly rectify that for you. There we go. Apologies guys, I think I had the Discord chat on there for a bit, which was a channel out of DPS, so apologies for DPS for showing your channel there on the stream for a second. While I was pulling up the tables, there was some little glitch there. So yeah, Rips, I mean, I agree with you in total. I mean, I think all in all, I think all the pools at the moment have that sort of, match up where there's two top teams at the moment, sort of battling it out for that place in the quarters. And again, guys, the communication around how the quarters will be placed will be communicated this week, but the structure is finalized in terms of the way it will work, and it looks like once the quarters kick off, it'll take about 2 weeks, pretty much 1 week for the quarters, one for the semis, and then in the final week the final. And of course that final will align with the last week of the T12 as well. So then there will be a week break where pretty much nothing will happen on the the battlefield side. Of course, there's going to be a lot of admin happening that week on our side, and that is pretty much just to finalize season 2 in terms of awards and things that need to be given out and medals and all sorts of stuff that's happening. And then we will have the closeout show the week thereafter. So you're probably looking at us closing off in about 4 weeks from now. And then I suspect, again, I mean, season 3 is still in discussion, as we said earlier, but then I suspect there will probably be about 2 off weeks before we start getting into the third and final season on Battlefield 1. And I am truly excited, to have a last season that is fun and all-inclusive, and, as many teams as we can. We will be closing off season 3 on Battlefield 1. It will be the last season that we do for Battlefield 1. Then the next season, which I'm not sure whether we're going to call it season 4 or start with season 1. I don't know. We haven't talked about that yet. We'll still see what we want to do there. But whatever season follows, season 3 will be on the new Battlefield title, which is Battlefield 5. And yeah, that's the plans going forward. That's what we want to try and achieve. Of course, there will be a lot of sort of little things happening between the end of season 3 and the start of the new season on Battlefield 5. There might be some community competitions going on, or there might be some other. I mean, for example, I saw this thing that Darren's busy doing with the Burkis and the Sautis. I think that's an excellent idea. I know that there might be some other clans that want to do like a friendly setup or whatever may be the case. So there will definitely be stuff happening sort of between the end of season 3 and the next season that's going to launch. And I also look forward to seeing what those things are going to be. Right?
Yeah, I mean, Battlefield 5 is coming out, and a lot of guys are excited about. Some people are a bit concerned with some of the mechanics that we saw. But I think E3 is in a week where they're going to be releasing more gameplay. So, yeah, I'm not making my mind up just yet because I want to see a bit more of the gameplay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to Season 3. There is a lot of discussion, as you said, going into Season 3 due to some strong teams in Division 3 that are literally just dominating the field. And then regulations and all that. So yeah, that's all happening at the moment, and those calls will be made at a later stage. But yeah, the next season for Battlefield 5, I mean, it could probably just be an entire new season due to the fact that it's a new game. People have to get used to playing this new game. It's a different play style. We don't know. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Absolutely. And we're moving on to the tables then. And the first one that I'm looking at is obviously Division 1 within the T12. And at the moment we have LGD there at the top on 22 points, followed by MAD on 21 points. So very, very close there at the moment. Obviously, MAD has played their 7 games with that 1 loss, whereas LGD has only played 6 with 0 losses at the moment, but still very close there, 22 and 21. Then we have MRU on 16, Lots on 14, DPS on 13, Red on 7, and then DI there as well. So at the moment it definitely does look like LGD is going to push ahead. They are having exceptionally good games at the moment, and again, as you said earlier, exceptionally good team. So number 1 on Division 1 at the moment. Now, guys, something that I want to remind you of while we're talking about this. Remember that if you compete in any season within, Clan Wars, you actually go onto something called the Masters Table. And before I go to the T5 table, I'll just show the Masters Table as well. And the idea around the Masters Table is that throughout the year, you rack up official points. So whether you are playing T5, whether you are playing T12, whether you are playing 1 season, 2 seasons, whether you play all of the game modes or just enter one team into a T12 or a T5, you will be racking up points for your clan towards the Masters Table. Now, the nice thing about the Masters Table, it actually becomes an official ranking table. And I'm just going to say that for now. But the idea around the official ranking table is that someone can then use that to sort of establish, how you did throughout the year. And again, this is the first time that we're doing it, on Battlefield 1, but obviously the Masters Table will continue into the next Battlefield franchise as well. Now, whether or not we would start the Masters Table at a 0 when the new franchise launches, or whether we would continue rolling over, again, that's a discussion that's being had at the moment. But at the end, the Masters Table take everything into account that you do within the season and within the Clan Wars franchise. So maybe just to remind people that Masters Table is available. But that is Division 1. Looking at Division 2 here, 4Q at the top with 20, followed by First on 18. Of course, First only had that 1 loss there. Only a 2-point difference at the moment between them and 4Q. We have PF on 15, also sharing that position with SNLV on 15. THC on 13, Raw on 5, and sharing that position with VTRN. And then we have WTF there as well. I think at the moment 4Q, these guys are impressing me. They have moved up significantly from their performance last season. And I mean, they are at the top at the moment. And by the looks of it, again, I mean, there's still, in the T12, there's about 3 weeks to go before the end, but there is a potential for these guys as well as First to possibly relegate into Division 1. Which is a very interesting thing for me to see, because I think both these teams, Full Crew and First, might actually be ready to sort of go into that Division 1 space. They both play exceptionally well from a strategy perspective within their games, and I mean both of them really impressive. But in saying that, like I said, there's still a few games left. PF SNLV still there in the running with 15 points, so not too far behind. So I think there's potential there as well. I don't know what your views are, Rips.
Yeah, I mean, we've played against 4Q mates in a good friendly, very very strong team. First, unfortunately, we haven't had a friendly against them yet. But what I've seen, these guys, I think both teams are ready for Division 1. They're going to have a hard time, but these two teams are very strong. They're able to push back. So yeah, 4Q mates and Firsts, I say good luck for the rest of the season. Yeah, you two are doing very well. You need to keep it up. SNLV, I mean, I've seen them play. Great team. PF, I haven't been able to watch them. But yeah, Division 2 teams, very strong, very, very, what's that word? Motivated.
And aggressive.
Motivated
and aggressive, right? There's some aggressive games going on here in Division 2 as well.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't actually watched any of the streams, but as I said, I've played in pub lobbies with half these guys, and very, very aggressive players.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're going to have a very interesting closing to the season and with regulations.
Yeah, look,
but yeah, well done to.
And I mean, at the end, I mean, I know we're getting sort of to, we normally start talking this when we're about, 2 or 3 weeks away from the end of the season. We start talking about possible relegation and moving up and moving down. And again, guys, as we get closer to the time, we'll talk about the relegation structure as well. But I mean, at the end, what we are trying to achieve is that we are obviously trying to achieve a point where, for example, in Division 1, you have all the best teams competing, right? And then in Division 2, all the best teams on that particular level. So, it's all about balancing. It's all about, getting teams to play each other at the end, which are on similar sort of skill levels, because, friendlies and things are great and I like seeing them, because it's great if a Division 3 team, for example, plays a friendly against a Division 1 team, because that's the way you sort of skill up and you gain some additional view on strategy and how to play the game. And at the end, the only way that you get better is by playing better teams. But from a competition perspective, it needs to be, evenly matched. I mean, if you think about something like boxing, for example, you can have a sparring partner that's a lot better than you are. And, that's the way you learn to fight. But when it comes to, actual competition, you can't put a heavyweight against, sort of a lightweight or a featherweight or something like that, because number one, it's not fun for anybody competing. And number two, it's not fun for anybody to watch. So so that's the idea around creating these divisions and skilling up teams in a good way. Not that it's only fun for the people that are playing, but also when it comes to spectating and broadcasting these matches, that it becomes really close and good matchups to look at and fun to look at, right? And at the end, irrespective of what anybody says, we have competitions because we like the fun element of it also. So even though it's hardcore competition, especially here in the T12, at the end it has to remain fun, right? It's a game, people enjoy the game and they want to watch the game and they want to have fun doing that as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're not having fun, what's the point?
Exactly. Right, moving on to Division 3 then. This is a big division. Let me just try and fit everyone in here. I'm going to cut someone off. Let me just do that. And I will scroll up. So we've got at the top we've got MSNK, and they're on 30 points at the moment, and they are followed then by Royal there on their 23. So well done there. I see that you guys are also making a rather strong impact. Of course, you've only had that one loss within the season so far. but on
and we're 1 game down.
And 1 game down. So I mean, there's still potential to gain another 3 points there this coming week. So maybe doing 26 points there versus the 30 of MSNK. So not too much of a gap there. But then, of course, you guys are followed closely by SBK, which is very impressive. The Straatbrok Coalitie. They are also a relatively new team and playing exceptionally well. They've had those 2 losses there on 8 games with 23 points. But I think these guys are really, really impressive. We had them on a couple of weeks ago on the recap show. Introduced the guys from SBK and who they are, and they sound like a bunch of fun guys to play with as well. So they are there sharing the second position with you on 23. So that'll be interesting when it comes to time for relegation as well. We've got CTK there on 19, Sons of Anarchy on 16, GSE on 16, who was, by the way, on the same show as SBK as from an introduction perspective. Lots on 15, and then we have ITF on 13, and then we've got Rekka there on 12. Now I have to mention Rekka here, or Raki here, sorry, because we've had some interesting discussions this week, and I've dubbed them our local bad boys. And the reason for that is that they are the only guys who's had a red card this season. And they are, of course, on 2 yellows as well. So we had a good laugh, and I laughed at Raki. He said to me that, look, it's not our intention, right, to be bad boys. It's just unfortunately the way that things worked out. So we luckily had a good laugh about it. And the guys are getting into, following the rules and logging their fixtures on time and doing this and that. Unfortunately, it has had some impact on their score. So that the 9th place there probably doesn't really reflect, the games that they've had, because they have had some point reductions there. Definitely not maliciously. Especially after this week's discussion, I realized that sometimes things just happen and you forget to log fixtures and do stuff like that and whatever. But Raki is our local bad boys there. And then, of course, I'm just going to scroll down for position 10 and 11, which is Raw and Snot at the moment on 11 and 6 points. So that is the 3 divisions for T12. And what I want to quickly do before I move on to the T5 tables, I just want to actually show the Masters table. So the way that you get to it is if you go onto PS4 Premier League, instead of going to Premier Tables, you simply click on the first league, which says Premier League, and you will see it actually comes up and says, you can see my mouse hovering over it now, it says Battlefield 1 Masters table, and this is the Masters table according to ranks. Now this table has some calculations within it in terms of the way that it calculates and works out, and that is also available to see on the Facebook page. But you can see that is the Masters table if you ever want to go and sort of have a look at it. Now moving on then to the T5 tables, and this is the pool tables. Now guys, remember, out of this pools, there are 4 pools within the T5. There will be teams identified for the quarters, and of course the quarters will play for the semis, and the semi eventually the final. So at the moment, the top 3 teams in each pool is probably good to look at in terms of who will be identified for the quarters, and that is purely going to be based on score. And of course, there is 1 week left. Everybody's, or most people, is on week 8, and there will be 1 more game up to week 9 before you get identified for the quarters. So looking at then pool 1 for the T5s. And pool 1 at this point, I see that top 3 teams there at the moment is, of course, Royal, yourself, on 24 points. And then we have LGD FaZe there on 21. And then, of course, we have VTR in there as well on 3rd position. Now I've been calling out these guys for a couple of weeks because they have been impressive in the T5. With 1 game to go, they do still have the opportunity to up their score a little bit. They might actually go to 21 there as well, but of course LGD also has another game to play, which means that they can go to 24, and you guys also have 1 last game, which means that you will be able to go to 27 if you win that game.
Yes.
So very, very interesting at the moment, but I do believe in this pool it will probably be yourself and LGD FaZe. That's just my personal view. that'll go through to the quarters. But of course, we've got some of the other teams here who have also, sort of come up in ranking within this pool. We have UB on 15, GSG impressive again on 12, DI sharing a position with DPS Silver on 10, Headhunters, and then BLXM there on 3 as well. So a pretty interesting pool, pretty strong pool as well. Actually a very, very nice pool to watch. Moving on to Pool 2 then. Pool 2, we've got DPS Gold on 22. We've got MSNK Sultry Swingers on 21. And First there on 16. Now, of course, it has to be mentioned that both MSNK and First have only played 7 games. They haven't played, they've all got some games to go on this pool. And of course, MSNK, they're very, very close with only 1 point difference away from DPS Gold. So we'll see what happens in this pool. Then, of course, we've got CTK there on 16, SOA sharing the position with MRUs on 10, and then Snot and THC there at the bottom. So I think my call for this one, it's difficult, but I think I'm calling DPS Gold and MSNK for this particular pool. I think those are the 2 teams to watch to go through. But of course, First in there with an outside chance still as well. Moving on to Pool 3 then. Again, we've got 2 very strong teams here at the top. LGD Acid on 24. They have not had a loss in their T5 so far in this pool. MSNK with that 1 loss, but on 22 points. Lots on 21 followed closely. PPX on 15, Mayhem on 14, THC and then Raki on 7. So I think there's still potential here for Lots to overtake the MSNK Banana Base. They've both had 8 games, both had 1 loss, so they both have still 1 game to go. So depending on the outcome of that game, it'll most probably determine who will be in position 2. But I think any one of these, LGD obviously I think will be in the quarters there as well. But I think it will be between MSNK and Lots in this pool in terms of who will go through to the quarters. So this coming week's games, guys, very, very exciting with most of these pools, because in some of these cases, this coming week's game really determines whether you actually reach the quarters or not.
Yeah, especially with Pool 3 here. We've got, this week we've got Lots versus PPX, and then MSNK versus LGD Acid. So
yeah,
that's gonna be a good game to watch.
Well, actually, what you are saying to me is that if Lots play PPX and they win, and then it means that MSNK has to win LGD if they want to go through to the quarters.
Yes,
that is going to be an interesting match.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the opposite is also true, right? If Lots play PPX and they lose, then MSNK play LGD, and if they then lose LGD, they're still going to be in the quarters.
Exactly.
Because then they will still end up above Lots.
Exactly. And to be honest, I actually want to see both MSNK and Lots go through.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, only one of them will be able to push through, unless some miracle Lots wins and MSNK wins. We'll have to have a tiebreaker there for second place.
Yes.
Because then that means Lots and LGD Acid will be tied on 24 points.
Correct.
So, yeah, next week's going to be a week to watch Pool 3.
Yep, Pool 3 going to be very exciting next week. I agree. Right, moving on to the last pool then, which is Pool 4. And let me just try and fit everybody in here. There we go. So at the moment there, we've got Destruction up there on 24 points. Again, they've also not had a loss in the T5 season so far. We've got MRU on 21. Impressive Boyki's GSE on 18. Again, also a very new team, but playing very well there in the T5. We've got Red there on 13. 4Q and SNLV both on 11. Lots and WTF on 9. And then we've got ITF and Snot there at the bottom. Now, the interesting thing here is, I think for me it will be to see what will happen between MRU and GSE. They again have both have 2 games, and it's exactly the same scenario as in Pool 3, where if MRU has a loss and GSE has a win, there might be a play-out situation.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see what happens there. Again, I think this week, I think Pool 1 and Pool 2 is very much
sorted.
Not completely. There's still an outside chance there, but I think those two pools are pretty set. And I think Pool 3 and Pool 4 is this week is going to be very exciting to see who actually ends up in the quarters over there. So I think from my perspective, those are the two pools that I will definitely be trying watch this week, specifically those games around MRU and GSE, as well as in Pool 3 between LOTS and MSNK. So I think there might be some streaming opportunity going on there as well. But I also know that there's a couple of T12 games that I would also like to get to. Considering that there's also 3 weeks left on that. So this might turn out to be a busy week.
It's going to turn out to be a very busy week.
Absolutely.
For T5 for Pool 4, you've got MRU versus SNLV and GSE versus Red. And if you look at the pools for Pool, the table for Pool 4, GSE and Red are not that far apart. GSE is in third, Red's in fourth. But it's going to be an interesting week.
Absolutely. Guys, just from that perspective, or maybe before I say that, if you are joining us this morning, thank you very much for joining. If you're already subscribed, that's great. If you are not, please hit the subscribe button and also the little bell to get your notifications whenever we go online. I want to do a specific call out to the streamers this week. Guys, we are getting close towards the end of the season. We've got 3 weeks left. Pretty much 3 weeks left on the T5 and 3 weeks left on the T12. And I really want to make a call to those guys that are, available to stream and into streaming, to get in touch with these teams and, see how many of these games we can actually bring to the community. It is getting to a very, very exciting time in the season, when we get to the end. So I would love to see as many of these games, be available for viewing as possible. There we go. So, Rips, I think that's what we had for this morning. We were a bit thin on the crowd. We also wish Slash all the best. He's, I believe he's still in hospital at the moment. He might be coming out today or tomorrow. So, all the best from our side in terms of recovering and getting well as soon as possible. I know that the Rebel had some work commitments. I know that, work interferes a lot with our gaming, so but he had some work commitments that he had to take care of. But Rips, from my side, thank you very much for getting up early. I know that you were still booze trained, but it was great of you to also join me. From your side, Rips, any final words?
From my side, I do see a question here on the stream. With Pool 3, there are you'll see that Pool 2, all of the teams are on 7 games and there's only one team that's on 8. You see, with Pool 2, there are uneven teams, so teams had off weeks, as well as that one team like DPS have actually played all the games. They only have up to 8 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
They're only going to play a maximum of 8 because of the amount of uneven teams, with SNAS withdrawing as well as OSYN. But if you look at the tables, you don't see SNAS or OSYN on the table.
Correct.
Not SNAS, OSYN. It's
Falcon, I think.
AOV CMAX, which withdrew, which put them on 9. Correct. So if there were all 9 teams, you would have seen that 9 weeks would have been played.
Yes.
But due to that pullback, only 8 games are being played between all the teams. So yes, DPS have no more games to be played. MSMK still have one more game to be played.
Well, everybody else, right?
Everybody else, they all got one more game except for DPS.
Yeah, because
everybody had that off week.
Correct, and they've actually their off week is actually the last week of the competition. That is when their off week falls into, which means that they won't be playing again within this pool. They've played all their games up until now, But yeah, you know, let's see. Next week's going to be very exciting. By the end, I mean, next week's recap show, we will obviously confirm, you know, the tables for the quarters, and who's going to be in the quarters, and that you know, a lot of that will only be determined this week because of the way the guys are playing out, and you know, the way the tables are at the moment. So yeah.
Yes.
I think that's sort of where we are. Rips, anything else from the stream there? Unfortunately, because we're so thin this morning, I didn't have an opportunity to really watch the stream. I think Slash was probably out of the bed there, probably typing away at the guys. I think there was some typing going on there, but I don't know if there's anything that I maybe missed from the stream chat.
For myself, everything here is basically just questioning what we've already answered regarding Pool 2, and then what's happening for Season 3. There was a question of is Season 3 Battlefield 5 1, answered that. But yeah, from my side, I mean, the community on these streams, you guys are amazing. You guys aren't fighting for once, so please keep that up. Yeah, the guys watching the streams, the support you guys give is amazing, and without your support, I don't think Battle Bros will get up in the morning to do this. So yeah, thanks to the guys who are watching. I mean, the streamers this week were amazing, and yeah, can't wait for next week.
Lekker, man, lekker. Guys, from my side, I think that's what we had this morning. Again, thank you very much for joining us. If you did, absolutely always great. And you know what? I don't mind getting up and doing it and bringing the community what we can bring them. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Guys, from my side, thank you very much. I'm Yakusawa for Battle Bros. See you on the battlefield.